There are hundreds of unique items added into dungeons on Skyblock. Most of them are terrible, but a few of them are so powerful, they make dungeons practically a walk in the park. And if you can afford them, I strongly recommend picking them up. Today we will look at a few dungeon items that are truly overpowered, and you should buy them right after watching this video. I'm less than 8,000 subscribers from YouTube rank. If you could subscribe, it would honestly make my day. I can't convince you, but I upload daily Skyblock guides and updates, which is more than most other YouTubers. And for the last 2 years, it's been my dream to reach 30,000. If you could take just 2 seconds to subscribe, it would mean so much. There really isn't a reason not to, just think about it. Now, let's break dungeons with some overpowered items. Dungeons is definitely not one of the better balanced things in Skyblock. With a simple bone meringue and good armor, you can demolish some of the strongest things in the game. I mean, just look at that, and they say mage is the best class. Over the last several months, a few items have stuck out to me as much more powerful than others. This may be because of their pure stats or unique abilities that change how the game functions. Without wasting any more time, let's get into the first item. Our first item is something basically everyone can use, and only requires a floor 1 completion. It's the Bonzo Mask. The Bonzo Mask is still being used today in floor 6, even by me. Similar to the Phoenix Pet, the Bonzo Mask acts like a second life, or revive, granting damage immunity and strength for 3 seconds, and fully restores all of your health. This is critical for basically everyone, since if you get hit by a Skeleton Master, because let's be real, those guys one-shot everyone, you won't cause your team an early death, and in turn losing score that may have costed you that coveted S+ rank. The base stats are exceptionally good on this helmet, especially being for a floor 1 drop. I recommend anyone except Healer wears this. Healer, you still gotta wear that Minder Fedora, nothing's changed there. But Mage, Tank, even Archer and Berserker, it's not a bad idea to slap this clown mask on and harness the power of a second life. This next set is a little bit different since it works really well outside of dungeons along with inside of dungeons, and that's the Skeletor Armor set. Specifically the legendary variant Skeletor Armor set, Reforged to Fierce. If you check this out, each piece gives me 10 strength, 9 crit chance, and 54 crit damage. And that's its base stats when it's Reforged to Fierce. If we check out the ability, it says grants 1 strength and 1 crit damage for every 10 Skeletor kills. That effect is permanent, meaning you can kill a ton of Skeletors and permanently have that stat increase. I believe it caps out at 500 kills, but if I can math correctly, is that not an extra 50 strength and crit damage, making this set give 60 strength and 104 crit damage on every piece, giving us 200 strength, 400 crit damage? Outside of dungeons, that's kinda ridiculous. Let alone the stats being multiplied inside of dungeons from your catacombs level. Currently with this set, I do 100,000 damage, and if I backstab, 200,000 damage. I mean, that's kind of overpowered considering that's about how much I did with Superior and Frozen Blaze, and this set has basically no kills. So I would strongly recommend picking up this set. I mean, if we take a look at the auction house, look at the lowest spin for Epic Skeletor. It's only a few thousand coins, and if we go to Legendary Skeletor, well man, it's basically the same thing. It's like 100,000 coins for this full set. That's really overpowered, and it's like really cheap to upgrade this to 5-star, making it a very valid set in dungeons for the first few floors. I wouldn't recommend this for something like floor 6 or beyond, but for definitely some of you earlier guys, this set's going to be super overpowered inside and outside of dungeons. Just have fun getting the catacombs level requirement for it, because that's a little bit high, but it makes sense since this set is super overpowered. Now, this next one is geared towards the rich players, but if you're on the fence about purchasing this item, hopefully this clip will help you decide. The Ice Spray Wand is the most broken and blatantly overpowered ability in Skyblock. The ability to nearly paralyze your enemies, dramatically reducing their damage output, slowing them to a halt, and making them take more damage for basically 0 mana cost, and the ability to stun them forever with decent timing, makes this well worth the 40 million coin while it sits behind. I was not able to survive the terracotta phase of floor 6 until I tried freezing as many of them at once as I could. Now, this fight is a joke, since they no longer deal the annoying true damage, and they take extra damage, making them easier to slay. If you can afford this weapon, please buy it. It's well worth the coins, and I can't see myself ever selling this in the future. Don't worry about getting the upgraded version. While it does do more damage, you really just want the thing for its ability. So if you are at all considering this weapon, I mean, just look at how easy the game is with this. 10 out of 10 would recommend to a friend. This item is much cheaper, basically free, and it also helps a ton with the terracotta phase, so if you're not able to afford the ice wand, pick yourself up an earth shard. This is a pretty mediocre weapon that doesn't do much damage, but when you hold it, you get a ton of defense. So if you're looking for something that's super cheap to just hold in your inventory while you're trying to take out the terracottas on floor 6, the earth shard isn't a terrible thing to pick up. I mean, get some life steal 4 on this, get some good enchantments, and you're looking at something that can seriously help you tank a decent amount. I would strongly recommend picking up one of the legendary rarity. You can get one pretty cheap as well. I mean, this one is pretty much as good as it gets because it gives about double the defense. And when you hold it, of course, this gets increased by your dungeon stats, all of that stuff, so it'll make you even stronger. So if you're looking for a earth shard, you can get one for about 100,000 coins from the auction house. Just make sure it's the legendary one, it's much better. Now, this one isn't exactly a dungeon item, but we convert it into a dungeon item, so cut me some slack here. This is going to be the Tarantula Helmet. Now, if I were able to actually, I'm going to have to zoom out on my GUI here, show you this. The 5-star Tarantula Helmet has, decent stats, alright? It's not the best of stats, but when I actually put it on and try and show you here, you'll see it gives a fair amount of health and defense, so we can let it slide. But most importantly, the ability still works. The 1% crit damage per 10 strength. When you're in dungeons, you will have a ton of strength, since all of your stats are being multiplied. Currently, the best players in the game are using the Tarantula Helmet for Berserker and left-click Mage. This is just because of the absurd amount of crit damage you'll be able to deal. Now, I only deal 96, because normally I deal like 2 crit damage, because I'm a mage. All of my talismans are set to Bizarre instead of... I know they're not set to Demonic, but you know what? I don't really care, because I need more mana to use my golden Midas spoon, okay? But getting back on topic, the Tarantula Helmet is being used by the best players because of the ridiculous amount of crit damage it will give when you're inside of dungeons. Now, you will need Kata 26 for it, but I'm Kata 24, and it's not been too bad of a grind. Once we get floor 7 out, I'm sure all of you will be able to get to Kata 26 very easily. So it's definitely worth saving up your spider essence and absolutely get a 5-star Tarantula Helmet for when you're ready for it. That's it for today's video. I kindly ask one last time, subscribe. Since you made it to the end, the video must have been somewhat interesting for you to stay. And again, subscribing actually means the world to me. With everyone's support, we will get that YouTube rank in a matter of days. So click that button just this once. Thanks for watching, and take care.